Hello and welcome to the Indiana State Police Roadshow. I'm your host, Sergeant John Perrine, the Public Information Officer for the Indiana State Police Indianapolis District. The Roadshow is brought to you by the Indiana State Police Alliance and Cops for Kids, a subsidiary of the State Police Alliance. For more information about our sponsor, visit www.indianasfinest.com. We want to thank our good friend Eddie for getting us on the radio, and Network Indiana, MS Communication for allowing us to use the studio here, and we certainly appreciate all their partnerships to get us on the radio. And if you're watching us on YouTube, it's thanks to the good hard work of our friend Tom Trial, who worked so hard to set up the studio, get the lights, get the cameras, and get us on YouTube. We certainly appreciate him. My guest today, the Chief Public Information Officer of the Indiana State Police, Captain Ron Galavis.
Morning, John. Thank you for having me.
Captain, good to have you. And from Capitol Police is Corporal Charles Manili, 15-year veteran of the Indiana State Capitol Police, and we're here to talk about all things Capitol Police, including some exciting hiring news.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me on.
So let's just start with kind of an overview, because you have a unique position within Capitol Police as you handle all the investigations, which people might be asking, well, what kind of investigations? Because if you're not familiar, the Indiana State Capitol Police is essentially the police agency for the state properties downtown Indianapolis, and they work under the umbrella of the Indiana State Police. However, they are their own police agency that operate as such. And so, but you're an investigator. So what kind of things are you investigating?
I am a general crimes detective, so I investigate everything from armed robbery, homicide, you name it. If it happens, I'm going to be involved. It's everything from intimidation to harassment, a lot of intimidation and harassment on public officials, state employees, state agencies. But it's all crime. So, yeah.
And so tell us about kind of your career and how you got here, because, you've been doing this for 15 years, which is obviously great. And we're glad to have you. So you didn't just start as a detective.
No.
You've done kind of a little bit of everything on the agency.
I have done quite a few things. I came on in 2008, and I did my FTO process, and once I finished my FTO, I was on my own for a period of time, close to maybe a year and a half or so. Was completing my undergrad at Indiana State University, and I had a very, very good mentor, Scott Alexander, who was a sergeant at the time, was our district detective. Kind of discovered I had a knack for investigations and a passion for it as well. So, he kind of took me under his wing and showed me how to start writing subpoenas. That's where I started, in his cases, writing subpoenas, and I excelled at that. And then I moved on to helping him write his search warrants. And I mean, before I knew it, I was off and flying on my own.
Here you are. So 15 years with the Indiana State Capitol Police. You've seen a lot, done a lot, but let's kind of talk about where it all started for you and how you got to become an investigator.
Sure. I came on in 2008 and finished my FTO process, and was on my own, kind of flying solo. I had a great detective that was with our section at the time, Scott Alexander, who took me under his wing and kind of showed me how to start writing subpoenas, and I was helping him with those. And investigations, and I excelled at those and progressed into search warrants, and I did well enough that I got somebody's attention, and they put me through an official detective's FTO process, and it's been about 10 years now.
Yeah, and you've investigated a lot of big cases, and people may not even understand or realize that within your responsibility or Capitol Police responsibilities, the Indianapolis Zoo, the War Memorial, the monument downtown on the Circle,
That's
as
correct.
well as all the state property over on Robert Orr Drive. And so relatively safe areas to visit, to be in, but certainly there has been some crimes that you've investigated. Everything, what are some of the types of crimes that you see?
Well, as a general crimes detective, I see all crime. It could be something as simple as intimidation or harassment, something as egregious as murder. So, I take what comes to me, and I just work through it. So,
and Captain, you and I have the opportunity to work with these Capitol officers and some of the greatest people that I know. And one misconception is that they're not security.
Right,
And
right.
I think people maybe see them in their roles and think that's maybe what they do, but they're a full-fledged police department with full police power,
Yeah.
capability, with patrol components.
Yep.
So talk a little bit about what you see them do day to day.
You know, so daily, in my interaction, obviously, I interact quite a bit with Lieutenant Moore, the commander of the section, also Captain Burke, who's now kind of over. He is the umbrella. But I mean, you see these guys and gals. You know, they're on foot patrol around the campus. You hear them going to calls all the time, whether it's in a parking garage or going maybe out just outside the realm to assist Metro, bicycle, canine, a little bit of everything. And now they've gotten their vehicles upgraded and properly equipped to the point now where they're like a trooper. Their office is their car if they're on mobile patrol. So. Again, full-fledged police agency. They do a little bit of everything. Yeah,
and one thing that I think is neat about the Capitol Police is I think the Indiana State Police has a very robust training division, and our training is very relative. It's good. It's current. It's frequent. And the Indiana Capitol Police, they train
right along with us. Yes.
When we show up at firearms, the Capitol Police officers are there shooting with us, and DTs and EVOC and EVO and
legal
all of the training
and all that. Yeah.
So all of the training that ISP receives at the same exact time the Capitol Police officers are receiving, and I think that's really unique and a really great opportunity.
The training is amazing.
Yeah, and so tell us some things within Capitol Police. Maybe what has surprised you the most about your 15-year career, from maybe what you thought you were getting into versus what it really is?
I would say the most surprising thing with regard to my career is, the emotion from the individuals that you help. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the times when we see individuals, it's the worst day in their life. If I see them, it probably is one of the worst days of their life. But the people are so thankful, and that's why I got into it was to help folks and try and make a difference. Just as most of the police officers that you and I know. I mean, but I would say it's the emotion that's involved in it. It's very deep for a lot of the people that we deal with and we help. And as a mechanism, for the criminal justice system, seeing individuals that have committed crimes be sentenced and to provide vindication to victims and to give them some closure. I mean, these people will never forget you. And I think that's one of the things that I feel is most impacting.
Yeah, and you do a great job at it. So talk about the importance as a detective, the importance of community, bystander, witnesses in your investigations, and when people come forward with relative information or maybe even information that they don't think is relative but is key components to your cases. Talk about the importance of people coming forward with that information.
I'll tell you what, it's one of those things in investigations, when someone gives you an account, a personal account of what they observed, you can have two people that were side by side, and one person's going to say that the suspect had on a blue shirt, and the other person's going to say, well, that suspect had on a purple shirt. I want to hear both accounts. And my thing is if you think you saw something, please say something. Give us an opportunity to sort through the details. It doesn't mean that one account is wrong. You know what I'm saying? If you think that you have information with regard to, criminal activity or offense of some sort, I would much rather the individual come forward and provide an account and let me sort through the details. They might provide some sort of information that they believe is frivolous, but to me, something that simple could break a case. Yeah,
and maybe somebody didn't necessarily witness the crime itself, but maybe the moments leading up to or the moments after that could be just as valuable to your investigation.
Absolutely.
So that's why it's so important. I think sometimes people think, well, I don't have good enough information. I only saw what the person looks like, or I only saw this person running past me, right? But it could be very, very valuable to you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, Captain, kind of shifting gears here, a really exciting time. I know that Superintendent Carter, the governor's office, have worked very, very hard to put a pay raise in place for the Indiana State Capitol Police. And with that significant pay raise, now we're into our big recruiting push, but we're recruiting a very specific group right now.
So what we're looking at right now is are those current or even retired law enforcement officers with Tier 1 or Tier 2 certifications. And with the adjusted pay schedule that's going to go into effect here on July 1st, I mean, we're talking, for a retiree, as an example, looking to supplement maybe a pension or even a second career. I mean, in that $65,000 to $72,000 pay range, I mean, that's nothing to that is substantial. And for some, it could be life altering. But I think as Charles here has really spoken so eloquently about it, it's not about the money. It's about the passion and the desire to do what's right. For those out there on the worst days of their lives at times. So we're really pushing this. I've been seeing things in the media, on their social media. So if our listeners have any interest or know somebody that may fit that bill, whether they're a current police officer somewhere or a retiree, we're taking applications until July the 5th. Now it's going to be an expedited class. 4 weeks, I think, is what it is.
Yeah.
Because again, those Tier 1 and Tier 2s should already have, obviously, the baseline training experience. So it's just a matter of getting them acclimated into the state police and the Capitol Police section way of doing things.
And the neat thing is there are options for all levels of retiree. There's no age limit.
That's correct, right.
And if you've been retired for 2 years or you've been retired for 10 years, there's options to get you back through the door.
Right.
And maybe you've had a life change. Maybe you need to supplement your income. Maybe you're just looking for a career to get back into.
Sure.
Into law enforcement. This is a great opportunity because if you're Tier 1, that means you're fully certified through the Indiana State Police Academy or the ILEA. But Tier 2 is a police officer who's had arrest powers, who it is a certification, but not a full academy certification. And we're taking both.
Right. And, when you're talking about demographics and ages and what have you, the Capitol Police section is I think, pretty well represented. I think there's a balance of ages and what have you across the board. So, if you feel that, maybe I'm too old to do this, I don't know. But it's something you're interested in, give it a whirl. Apply.
Yeah. So if you're a current police officer with any amount of time on, and you're looking for another career, or if you're a retired police officer, a former police officer, maybe you didn't quite retire, but you did a significant amount of time as a police officer,
or you're looking to retire here in the near future from the current agency and looking what can I do at the day after.
Yeah, and I know we have a few Indiana State troopers who have retired from ISP and worked for Capitol Police, and it's worked out well. And so I think the value in that is bringing experience to the Capitol Police agency,
right?
And also giving these folks an opportunity that maybe they retired before they were ready to quit law enforcement, or maybe they've realized they miss it.
And what it does for the general public and for all those that not only work on but visit the campuses that they're in charge of, it allows for those folks to already have a sense of, well, I think more of a sense of a feeling of security, because these individuals can hit the ground running.
Yeah, we
don't have to send them to the 16-week academy.
Yeah, and outside of the pay, we're talking full benefits, right? Medical, vision, dental benefits, a retirement plan, right? Yes. And so this isn't a part-time job.
Nope.
This is a career, an opportunity for a career, and just an opportunity to get back into the door.
Yeah, absolutely.
And work for the Indiana State Capitol Police, a very, very, very great agency, I might say, and we're thankful to have them within our agency.
Yes.
And they're very, very good.
They bend over backwards for everything that we ask for, and we certainly try to do the same for them. So,
and anytime you visit downtown Indianapolis and go to any state campus, you may not see them, but they're there.
Oh yeah.
They're there behind the scenes. They're part of the planning. They're part of the actual events. Just making sure that it's safe for everybody, and even the criminal investigations.
Yes.
And so, Charles Maneely, thanks. We have about 2 minutes left here, and I want to just go back into your career with Capitol Police and talk about maybe what are some points or some advice you might have for somebody who is looking for a police job, whether they're right out of college or at the end of another. What's some advice that you might give somebody that's just starting with Indiana Capitol Police?
The best advice I can give somebody just starting in law enforcement or having a passion for it, that can get their foot in the door, is treat everybody as you would want to be treated. Don't let that badge go to your head. Everyone you deal with is somebody's mom, someone's dad, someone's sister or brother, and keep that in mind. But give everything 110%, at least to the best of your ability, and listen. Be quicker to listen than you are to speak.
And that's great advice, really, for anyone, but specifically those coming into law enforcement. Captain, where can folks go to if they're interested in the job with the Indiana State Police? Obviously, contact an ISP recruiter, but
yeah, for sure, they can go to our website in.gov/ISP for any of the positions, whether they are professional services or sworn to include Capitol Police, or they can contact really any of the Indiana State Police districts. A public information officer can put them in contact with a recruiter.
Yeah, so if you have questions about this hiring process, again, this hiring process right now is specific to what we call lateral transfers. Those are people that have police experience. However, if you're interested in a career with the Indiana Capitol Police, stay tuned because it's very likely we're going to be hiring from the beginning as well.
Yep.
So we want to thank our sponsor, the Indiana State Police Alliance and Cops for Kids, a subsidiary of the State Police Alliance. We hope everybody has a great week. Buckle your seatbelt, and we will talk to you next time.